Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Naresh Mago and with me is Gaurav Sharma with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveils several development projects worth 6,100 crore rupees in Kerala. Says all efforts being made to improve tourism-related infrastructure in state. Prime Minister lauds farmers of Tamil Nadu for record food grain production and good use of water resources. Fast Tag to become mandatory, no cash payments on national highways from tomorrow midnight. Over 82 lakh people administered COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. And in cricket, on second day of Chennai test, India tighten grip, extend lead to 249 runs. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these three simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. Now the news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveiled several key development projects worth 6,100 crore rupees at INS Garuda Naval Air Station at Kochi in Kerala this evening. Speaking on the occasion, the Prime Minister said these projects will energize the growth trajectory of India.
Today, we have gathered here to celebrate development. Development of Kerala and development of India. The works being inaugurated today cover a wide range of sectors. They will energize the growth trajectory of India.
The Prime Minister said India has the ability to rise to the occasion and contribute to the global good. Among the projects inaugurated by the Prime Minister in Kerala today include propylene derivative petrochemical project of Bharat Petroleum Corporation. Mr. Modi said propylene derivatives petrochemical complex of Kochi refinery will help strengthen the country's journey towards being Atmanirbhar as it will save foreign exchange.
This is one of India's most modern refineries. Today, once again from Kochi, we dedicate to the nation the propylene derivatives petrochemicals complex of the Kochi refinery. This one project will help strengthen our journey toward being Atmanirbhar.
The Prime Minister also dedicated to the nation the Ro-Ro vessels at Wellington Islands in Kochi. Mr. Modi also inaugurated the country's first full-fledged international cruise terminal, Sagarika, at Cochin Port and Marine Engineering Training Institute of Cochin Shipyard Limited. The Prime Minister asserted that the central government is undertaking all efforts to improve the tourism-related infrastructure in Kerala.
The government of India is undertaking many efforts to improve tourism-related infrastructure here. The inauguration of Sagarika, the international cruise terminal in Kochi, is one example of this. Sagarika cruise terminal brings both comfort and convenience for tourists. It will cater to over 1 lakh cruise guests.
The Prime Minister noted the rise in local tourism due to the pandemic-related restrictions on international travel. He said this is a great opportunity for added livelihood to those in the local tourism industry and deepening of connection between our culture and our youth. He called upon the startups to think about innovative tourism-related products. The Prime Minister noted the tourism sector in India has been growing well in the last 5 years. The Prime Minister pointed out that in the World Tourism Index ranking, India has moved from the 65th to the 34th position. Mr. Modi said that India is proud of its diaspora. The Prime Minister said Indians working in the Gulf should have the full support of the government. The Prime Minister hailed the support of the country's citizens in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Kerala Governor Arif Muhammad Khan, Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan, Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, Mansukh Mandaviya and V. Muralidharan were also present on the occasion. Speaking on the occasion, Union Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas Dharmendra Pradhan said that the projects will add special momentum to Kerala's growth. All these projects would help to realize the Prime Minister's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Earlier in the day, the Prime Minister inaugurated and laid the foundation stones of several developmental projects worth over 8,000 crore rupees at Chennai in Tamil Nadu. Speaking on the occasion, the Prime Minister asserted these projects are symbols of innovation and indigenous development. Mr. Modi said Tanjavur and Pudukkottai will be specially benefited after the foundation for the extension, renovation and modernization of the 636 kilometers long Grand Anicut Canal system was laid today. It will improve the irrigation facilities for 2.27 lakh acres of land in the Delta districts. The Prime Minister lauded the farmers of Tamil Nadu for record food grain production and good use of water resources. He emphasized the need to remember mantra of per drop, more crop.
I want to appreciate the farmers of Tamil Nadu for record food grain production and good use of water resources. For thousands of years, this Grand Anicut and its canal systems have been the lifeline of the rice bowl Tamil Nadu. The Grand Anicut is a living testimony to our glorious past. It is also an inspiration to our nation's Atmanirbhar Bharat goals.
The Prime Minister said India has undertaken a massive effort to become self-reliant in the defence sector. The Prime Minister also handed over the indigenously designed and manufactured Arjun main battle tank Mk1A to the Army. It has been indigenously designed and manufactured by the Combat Vehicles Research and Development, Establishment of Defence Research and Development Organization.
I am proud to dedicate to the country one more warrior to protect our frontiers. I am proud to hand over the indigenously designed and manufactured main battle tank Arjun Mark 1A. It also uses indigenous ammunition. Tamil Nadu is already the leading automobile manufacturing hub of India. Now I see Tamil Nadu evolving as the tank manufacturing hub of India.
Mr. Modi said a tank made in Tamil Nadu will be used in our northern borders to keep the nation safe. This showcases India's unity, Bharat's Ekta Darshan. The Prime Minister said that the focus on making India Atmanirbhar in the defence sector will keep moving with full speed. Among the projects, the Prime Minister inaugurated the Chennai Metro Rail Phase 1 extension, completed at a cost of 3,770 crore rupees, and flagged off the passenger services from Washarmpet to Vimko Nagar. This 9.05 kilometer long extension will link North Chennai with the airport and central railway station.
We are inaugurating the 9-kilometer stretch of the Chennai Metro Rail Phase 1 project. This would go from Washarmpet to Vimko Nagar. This project has been completed on schedule despite the global pandemic. The civil construction activities were done by Indian contractors. The rolling stock had been procured locally. This in line with the boost to Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Other projects inaugurated today include the 4th railway line between Chennai Beach and Attipattu, railway electrification of single line section in Villupuram, Kudalur, Mayadiduture, Tanjavur and Mayadiduture, Thiravur. The Prime Minister laid the foundation stone for the Discovery Campus of IIT Madras.
The nation is today remembering the martyrs of the Pulwama attack who made the supreme sacrifice in the dastardly terrorist attack on the 14th of February in 2019. 40 Central Reserve Police Force CRPF personnel were martyred when their convoy on the Jammu-Srinagar National Highway was attacked by a vehicle-borne suicide bomber at Letpora in Pulwama district of Jammu and Kashmir. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said, "The grateful nation will always remember their patriotism and supreme sacrifice." Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid homage to the Pulwama attack martyrs on the anniversary of the attack today. Speaking at an event at Chennai in Tamil Nadu, the Prime Minister said their bravery will continue to inspire generations.
No Indian can forget this day. 2 years ago, the Pulwama attack happened. We pay homage to all the martyrs we lost in that attack. We are proud of our security forces. Their bravery will continue to inspire generations.
Home Minister Amit Shah said India will never forget their exceptional courage and supreme sacrifice. Paying homage to the brave CRPF personnel, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said India will continue to stand with their families who had to suffer due to this attack. India and Poland share a long-standing friendly relationship marked by high-level political contacts, vibrant economic engagement, and traditional cultural links. In an exclusive interview with AIR News, Ambassador of Poland to India, Adam Burkowski, has shared his insights on India-Poland relations. Speaking about the role of India as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, he highlighted India's importance in the multilateral fora as a key player in Asia.
I think India has a lot to say and to show in this multilateral fora, because India is the second biggest country in the world according to number of inhabitants, and key player Asia, and also we observe the growth of India's international role, which is very good thing, because as I said, we think that India has some really valuable input to the world affairs.
For listening to the full interview, tune into our World News program on FM Gold channel and digital frequencies from 10:30 p.m.
All lanes in the fee plazas on national highways will be declared as fast-tag lanes from tomorrow midnight. Road, Transport and Highways Ministry said this has been done to further promote fee payment through digital mode, reduce wait time and fuel consumption, and provide for a seamless passage through the fee plazas. As per the NH Fee Rules 2008, any vehicle not fitted with FASTag or vehicle without valid functional FASTag entering the FASTag lane of the fee plaza will pay a fee equivalent to 2 times of the fee applicable to that category. The ministry had mandated fitment of FASTag in M and N categories of motor vehicles with effect from 1st January this year.
In Uttarakhand, after 7 days since the flash flood hit the Rani village and Tapovan NTPC project in Chamoli district, bodies of the missing people are being recovered from the debris. Rescue teams have managed to recover 13 bodies today. 7 bodies were recovered near Rani village and 6 from the tunnel at the Tapovan. Till date, 51 bodies have been recovered and around 153 people are still missing. Let's go over live to our correspondent Sushil Chandra Tiwari, who is at Ground Zero, Tapovan Tunnel in Chamoli for the latest. Sushil, what updates do you have on the measures being undertaken in the search and rescue operation?
Naresh, rescue and search operations for the missing persons continued unabated today also, despite of the bad weather. After almost 7 days of search operation, rescue teams have started recovering bodies from inside the main tunnel as well as from the Rishi Ganga power project at Rani village. And now rescue and search operation is going on at 3 places, Rani, Tapovan tunnel, and attempts are also on to reach at the barrage area over the tunnel where maximum number of workers were working at that time when the flash flood came last week. Naresh, a big challenge in front of the rescue team could be the bad weather because it was drizzling throughout the day at different intervals, and if the weather doesn't get better, then it could hamper the rescue operations in the area. Let me tell you that connectivity is also being restored at both places, at Rani and at Tapovan. An approach bridge was prepared by Border Road Organization today, and one rope bridge is also started working at Tapovan so that people who are stuck at the both ends could cross the river. Naresh?
Thank you, Sushil, for that update.
Over 82,63,000 people have administered COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. The national COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 97.31%. A total of 11,106 COVID patients have recovered during the last 24 hours. Over 1,611,000 people have recovered from the infection so far. Chief Election Commissioner Sunil Arora has informed that Assembly election schedule for Kerala will be finalized taking into account upcoming festivals. The polls will also be finalized in such a manner that it does not interfere with the CBSE and state board exams. An election commission team led by Mr. Arora was speaking at the press conference in Thiruvananthapuram after holding detailed discussions with various sections in last 2 days to assess the preparedness for the upcoming Assembly polls in Kerala. You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio.
Now here is a review of the proceedings in Parliament this week. The writer is senior journalist V. Mohan Rao. Several matters, including a discussion on the union budget, welfare measures for farmers, and the supply of COVID-19 vaccines, figured in both the Houses of Parliament in the first part of the budget session, which concluded yesterday. The Rajya Sabha was adjourned on Friday to meet again on the 8th of March. The Lok Sabha, which met on Saturday, has adopted the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Amendment Bill 2021. In his reply to the debate, Home Minister Amit Shah asserted that the Narendra Modi government has done more for Jammu and Kashmir since Article 370 was scrapped in August 2019 than those who ruled it for generations. Its development has been the top priority of the government, Mr. Shah said. He slammed some opposition parties for their claim that the proposed law negates the hopes of the region getting back its erstwhile statehood. Later, the House passed a bill that seeks to merge Jammu and Kashmir cadre of All India Services with the Arunachal Pradesh, Goa, Mizoram Union Territory, AGMAT cadre. Mr. Shah said the legislation has nothing to do with the statehood and Jammu and Kashmir will be accorded the status at an appropriate time. He said the centre made it a union territory to streamline the administrative machinery and push development works which had been stalled for decades. The Home Minister said Jammu and Kashmir has been a top priority for the NDA government since it came to power in 2014. He said work on 2 All India Institutes of Medical Sciences in the region has begun and the Kashmir Valley will be connected to the railways by next year. He also gave the assurance to the people of Jammu and Kashmir that no one will lose his or her land. He said the government has sufficient land for development works.
The bill seeks to replace the ordinance to merge the Jammu and Kashmir cadre of civil services officers with the Arunachal Pradesh, Goa and Mizoram Union Territory AGMAT cadre. Mr. Shah said the government expects that around 25,000 government jobs will be created in Jammu and Kashmir by 2022. The House took up the discussion on the motion of thanks on the President's address. Locket Chatterjee of the BJP, who resumed her address, hailed Modi government's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and noted that the recovery rate in the country has been more than 98%. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said the government is taking all possible measures for the welfare of the poor and the farmers. He said the Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar is in constant touch with the agitating farmers. Mr. Modi was replying to the discussion on the motion of thanks to the President for his address to the joint session of the Parliament in the Rajya Sabha on Monday. Later, the House adopted the motion by voice of vote, thanking the President for his address. Mr. Modi made it clear that minimum support price will continue. He said the new farming laws were aimed at improving the condition of the small and marginal farmers. He said today 68% of farmers are small and marginal farmers and over 12 crore farmers have less than 2 hectares of land. Mr. Modi said that people who indulge in politics have also implemented the laws in some form or the other. He, however, said the government was ready for good suggestions and invited the opposition to take the country forward by explaining the good features to the agitating farmers. Referring to the measures undertaken by the centre to alleviate the condition of the farmers, he said after 2014 the government transformed the crop insurance scheme to include the small farmers. He also said that 90,000 crore rupees were disbursed through crop insurance. He said the NDA government is committed towards the welfare of the poor and listed some of the reforms undertaken by it to eradicate poverty.
The Lok Sabha on Tuesday resumed a discussion on the motion of thanks to the President on his address to the joint sitting of Parliament last week. Taking part in the discussion, Ramesh Bidhuri of BJP praised the Modi government for its handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, saying it was exemplary. He lauded the efforts by Prime Minister Narendra Modi for dispatching COVID-19 vaccine doses to several countries. In reply to a question on the efforts being undertaken by the government to tackle COVID, Health Minister Harshvardhan told the Rajya Sabha on Tuesday that all steps are being taken to control the pandemic, including financial support to the states. He said the PM CARES Fund is supporting the vaccination program. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that his government and Parliament have great respect for the agitating farmers and made it clear that those who want to continue with the old agriculture marketing system can remain doing so. He made this observation in the Lok Sabha on Wednesday while replying to the discussion on the motion of thanks on the President's address. Mr. Modi slammed the opposition Congress as a divided and confused party for its different stand in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha during the debate on farmers. The Prime Minister appealed to the protesting farmers to come to the negotiation table to resume the talks. He also allayed apprehensions on the farm laws, saying that neither any agriculture mandi has been shut down after enacting the three laws, nor has the MSP stopped. He said instead the MSP has only increased. The Prime Minister said the House, the government and we all respect the farmers who are voicing their views on the farm bills. He said after the laws relating to agriculture were passed by Parliament, no mandi was shut. Likewise, the MSP has also remained. Procurement on MSP has remained. These facts can't be ignored, he said. The Prime Minister also said the government is offered to discuss clause by clause the three farm laws, and if there are any shortcomings, it was ready to make changes. He reiterated that the old agriculture marketing system will continue, and those who do not want the new system can continue with the old system. The farmer in the country should become self-reliant, and he should be free to sell his produce, he said, adding that there is a need to work in this direction. Referring to the COVID-19 pandemic, Mr. Modi said, India has managed the crisis successfully despite adverse predictions, and the country has now become a ray of hope for the world. The Prime Minister said that is why India is working towards building an Atmanirbhar Bharat which seeks to further the global good.
The Rajya Sabha has taken up the discussion on the union budget on Wednesday. Participating in the discussion, Sushil Kumar Modi of the BJP said the economists have hailed the budget as a reformist budget. He said it is a budget dedicated to the welfare of the poor and boost reforms. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh informed the Lok Sabha on Thursday that India and China have reached an agreement on disengagement in the north and south bank of Pangong Lake in eastern Ladakh that mandates both sides to cease forward deployment of troops in a phased, coordinated and verifiable manner. Mr. Singh said New Delhi has not conceded anything in the sustained talks with China. In his statement, the minister made it clear that India will not allow even an inch of its territory to be taken by anyone. The minister also made a similar statement in the Rajya Sabha. Later, the House took up discussion on the union budget. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi criticized the government for enacting the three farm laws and alleged that it has triggered protests by farmers at Delhi's borders. Responding to his Minister of State for Finance Anurag Thakur said Mr. Gandhi was not prepared to speak about the union budget. The Rajya Sabha concluded the first part of the budget session on Friday with Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman replying to the discussion on the budget. She said the budget is the instrument for making India an Atmanirbhar Bharat at a time when economies across the globe had suffered due to the COVID pandemic. Intervening in the discussion, Minister of State for Finance Anurag Thakur asserted that the three new farm laws will help in doubling the income of the farming community. Replying to a discussion on the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Amendment Bill 2021, he also slammed some opposition members for their claim that the proposed law negates the hopes of the region getting back its erstwhile statehood. Later, the House passed a bill that seeks to merge Jammu and Kashmir cadre of All India Services with the Arunachal Pradesh, Goa, Mizoram Union Territory, AGMAT cadre. The Home Minister said the legislation has nothing to do with the statehood and Jammu and Kashmir will be accorded the status at an appropriate time. He said the centre made it a union territory to streamline the administrative machinery and push development works which had been stalled for decades. Decentralization and devolution of power have taken place in the Union Territory following the revocation of Article 370, Mr. Shah said, noting that the Panchayat elections saw over 51% voting.
The Bahujan Samaj Party supported the bill and lashed out at the Congress for its opposition to the move. Maluk Nagar of the BSP said, backward communities like Gujjar and Bakarwal have been deprived of their rights in Jammu and Kashmir for long. Participating in the discussion, Professor Shaugata Roy of the Trinamool Congress opposed the bill, saying it is against the principles of the Constitution. It will also affect the career prospects of the Jammu and Kashmir cadre officers, he said. Rajiv Ranjan Singh of the JDU supported the bill and took a dig at the opposition members who brought up the issue of the revocation of Article 370. Whatever had to happen has happened and there is no point raking it up now, he said, noting that his party has also not supported the measure then. Development is taking place at a fast pace in Jammu and Kashmir, he said. Raising objections to the bill, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary of the Congress questioned the need for bringing an ordinance for this. He said Jammu and Kashmir is a sensitive state and the cadre should be local and officers having ground knowledge should be appointed there. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman hit out at Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, alleging that he is insulting the constitutional functionaries. Replying to the discussion on the union budget, she said Mr. Gandhi was creating fake narratives but does not have the patience to listen to replies on allegations levelled against the government. She had said Mr. Gandhi declined to speak on the budget. She questioned the Congress party why it took a U-turn on the farm laws. The finance minister wanted to know why the Congress governments in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh did not waive the farm loans as promised in their manifestos. She said Mr. Gandhi did not talk about the farmers' issue in Punjab, where Congress is in power. She said Mr. Gandhi also did not refer to any clause in the 3 agri-bills which was against the farmers. She also said Mr. Gandhi did not say anything about the statement of former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, who had advocated reform of the Agriculture Produce Marketing Committee. She accused Mr. Gandhi of insulting constitutional authorities, recalling the incident when he tore an ordinance promulgated by its own government led by Manmohan Singh. She said the budget has set the pace for India to become Atmanirbhar. The reforms undertaken by the government will lay the path for India to become one of the fastest growing economies in the world, she said, adding that the budget has set the pace for India to become Atmanirbhar. With regards to increasing allocation for Rural Job Guarantee Scheme, the Finance Minister said the government will allocate more funds for Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme for 2021-22 if needed, as against the budget estimate of 73,000 crore rupees. Hitting out at the opposition, Mrs. Sitharaman said the government under Prime Minister Narendra Modi works for common people and not for crony capitalists. That's all in Parliament Review this week.
On day 2 of the Chennai cricket test, India is in complete control and it will be difficult for England to come back. At stumps, the hosts were 54 for 1. Opener Rohit Sharma with 25 runs and Cheteshwar Pujara with 7 runs were at the crease when stumps were drawn. India extended their lead to 249 runs, which is still considered a formidable target on a lively track in the M.A. Chidambaram Stadium. Earlier, England were bundled out for 134 runs. For India, ace spinner Ravichandran Ashwin took 5 wickets, whereas Akshar Patel bagged 2, Ishant Sharma claimed 2 and Siraj 1. India were all out for 329 runs in their first innings, resuming at the overnight score of 300 for 6. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is likely to have dense fog. The temperature will hover between 10 and 29 degrees Celsius. Srinagar will have a mainly clear sky. The temperature will hover between 0 and 16 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards the evening or night. The minimum temperature will be 10 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be 22 degrees. Leh will have a mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be minus 10 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be 6 degrees. Gilgit will have a mainly clear sky. The temperature will hover between minus 1 and 20 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will witness a mainly clear sky. The temperature will hover between 7 and 24 degrees Celsius.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveiled several development projects worth 6,100 crore rupees in Kerala, says all efforts being made to improve tourism-related infrastructure in the state. Prime Minister lauds farmers of Tamil Nadu for record food grain production and good use of water resources. FASTag to become mandatory, no cash payments on national highways from tomorrow midnight. Over 82 lakh people administered COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. And in cricket, on second day of Chennai test, India tighten grip, extend lead to 249 runs. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website, newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.